Hello everybody, Spicy Fox here, and in this video, I thought it'd be fun to discuss something that, well, okay, let's be real here. It's probably not gonna happen, but I just thought it would be a fun discussion. I want to discuss one buff that could help revitalize a character. So, all of these 1.0 characters, to be exact. One buff that could just help them. So before we get started, I want to start with a quick disclaimer. None of these buffs will be a direct change to anyone's multipliers. So if we go to Nile, for example, these numbers over here, nothing will change with these. I just think changing a multiplier to be higher is just a boring and very obvious buff to any character, because if you make anyone's multipliers higher, they will most likely also obviously do more damage. Sorry dear mains, I know you guys need it. Another disclaimer is that I will not be touching any constellations. I will not be making any constellation space kits, so I'm sorry to Hutao C1 and Risley C1 and of course Chiori C1. They will all remain constellations. And lastly, this video is for 1.x units only. 2.x, 3.x, and 4.x will be hopefully coming shortly, so stay tuned for that. And now that we have all those out of the way, let's get into the video. Alright, first off the list is our favorite outrider, Amber.
Leave it to me!
And what I thought Amber could use, that could help her, is just to make her taunt just way bigger. And make her explosion also way bigger, because this is not really that big. Like, what is this? So yeah, I thought that would be just a cool idea. Make those taunts a lot bigger. Next is our favorite
This will be interesting.
captain, Kaeya. And what I thought would be really cool to do with him.
Dodge this.
Alright, so what I thought would be cool is when you have a burst, make it so the burst doesn't do this, okay? It stays on the ground. You know with Xiangling, it stays on the ground? Make it so the burst stays, it doesn't go up with you. I think that would really help his cryo application in some teams. I know it might seem underwhelming, but I think it could really help Kaeya out of it. Next, we have our beloved Lady Lisa, our favorite librarian. And what I think she really needs
Come a little closer.
is, what is this? Why is this? Why does she have to wait so long? I don't want that. What I want is that you click it
You're
and it
in for a
instantly
little
goes. Not
shock.
this. I don't know what that is. I want it. When you hold it, it
Blitz.
skips all that and just instantly goes to the space. Lisa is not that broken of a character. Just do it, Hoya. I mean, just come on. Alright, next one. Alright, next is Barbruh.
Wish me luck!
And what I really don't like
I'll
is that
protect
it rise Hydro. Like when you look down here. Bam, Hydro. Why? It is the most annoying thing ever. Alright, please change that and give Barbruh the buff that she deserves. Next character, one of my favorite units.
I'll scout
Razor.
ahead.
So, I want Razor, when he's in his burst state, just to have his AoE massively increased. I'm talking Noelle big. So, you know, it doesn't even, I don't mind that it leaves the field. Obviously, I would prefer if it stays, but whatever. I want it to be this big. Make the AoE for Razor this big, okay? That's what I would like to see. Obviously, still physical, because that's like his whole thing. Yeah, that's what I would like to see. Next, we have Zhongli.
I can't wait any longer!
And what I want to see with Zhongli is that when you use her skill, usually, I'm going to demonstrate this, usually,
Nice and
you throw it, you have to wait a few seconds, then Grover starts firing, and only then do you get the paraparticle. But usually what happens is, you do this, you use her burst, and then you swap out. and you don't really get any of the refund. What I want to see is that you click, and then you instantly start getting the power. You click your skill, and he instantly also shoots. That's what I would like to see. What I would like to see with Beidou is that when you get the perfect parry, I want the skill cooldown to instantly just decrease, like to 2 seconds. And then I also want her to get a Electro Infusion during those 2 seconds. So that way you can use her as a main DPS. So you parry correctly, and then you can kind of use her, and then you can parry again and use her again. Which just, it would be really interactive, and I would really love to see that happen. Like parry, and then you can follow up. You can kind of use that as a main DPS. So, next up, this guy does not need a buff, but you know what? If I could buff him somehow, I would do that he has 2 charges of a skill. Because that would allow you to use a different weapon, a more damaging weapon. Because I've seen a lot of weird runs where speedrunners, or just not even speedrunners, just people, I guess, use Xingqiu's skill in order to do lots of damage, but they have to use sacrificial so they can use it twice. So if you could use your skill twice, you could use a more damaging option. Plus it would help his energy a little bit. So you could just use a more damaging weapon. So, for the next one, I am going to get Ningguang, but I'm also going to get out Xiangling.
I trust you have packed ample.
Right. So look at this. And look at that. Keep in mind, you're supposed to use the charged attacks and normal attacks. They are so slow and stupid to use. And then look at Xiangling. Beautiful. This is what I want to see. It's not a kit change at all. It's just, I want it to feel more satisfying. It would be a buff because then you can use more of her attacks, more smoother.
In the name of the princess.
Is Fischl. Alright, this isn't that much of a buff, more like a whole kit change kind of, but I want, after she uses her skill, she also gets an Electro Infusion. Just like Yoimiya. So she uses her skill, and she gets a 2-second Electro Infusion that you can refresh by summoning Oz again.
Wings of darkness.
That way if you use a burst,
Sever night from day.
and you use her skill again, she gets Electro Infusion. I want this because her C1 lets Oz have a coordinated attack, which is kind of useless because you're never on field to do this. So I just think it would be a fun little thing to do. You know, give a little something. Next up is our favorite,
I won't hold you back.
Unluckiest boy, Bennett. And his change is really simple. I want him to always heal. You know how right now in his kits, Fantastic Voyage, he heals up to 70%. Just get rid of that. Just let him heal. It's so annoying. What if you're on 71%? It's so, just let him heal, you know?
Adventure time.
Next up is our beloved Geo Maiden,
Steady as
Noelle.
stone.
And what I want is for this to change. This. Alright? I want when you use your elemental skill that it generates energy. What is this? I did damage with my elemental
Someone needs
skill,
assistance.
but I didn't get any energy. I know her energy issues aren't really a problem, and I don't care. I just want a buff. I want this buff. Alright, next up is Chongyun. And for Chongyun, one thing that I really would like to see a change in is that his elemental burst has separate ICT. I want all of these to be able to melt, basically. Because right now, you can use his elemental burst. That's supposed to be like his big thing, his elemental burst is like huge, ginormous damage. Well, I'm sorry, why do they have the same ICD? You know, only like a few can actually melt, which I think should change. When Pyro is applied, you can just melt everything. That's what I would like to see. Alright, so the next change is for Sucrose. And to demonstrate what I want for Sucrose, I am actually going to go to the Animo Hypostasis. If my Sayu had a shorter skill cooldown, this would be quicker. Okay, thank you. So, what I want to see, you know how her burst right now stays in one place the whole time? I want, look at this burst. I want it to be able to move. So if enemies are over here, I want this burst to be able to move over here. I think that would be a really, really, really cool change for Sucrose. Next up, we have Master June, and what I want to see with her is, okay, let me just suck both of you guys in. Thank you. And what I want is that her burst will continue. Look, the burst pushed them away. I want the burst to suck them in here into the middle. Okay, this is specifically because her C4 shreds anima res when they're inside the burst, but the burst sucks them out, which just does not make any sense in my mind. So that is the change I would like to see with June. Okay, so next up is our beloved wine master, as Paimon would say, Master Diluc, and his change is really simple. I want his burst to no longer push enemies away. Alright, that is it. His burst no longer pushes them away, because then you have to chase them and that wastes time. And I know this isn't really a boss issue, but it's just something I would like to see. Also, I know I said no constellation changes, but change this to normal attacks. Please, change this to normal attacks. He's a plunge DPS. Let's just be real here. Also, yes, he is C6. He's actually C7, but we don't talk about that. Now, we are moving on to Mona. And Mona, another very, very simple change. This isn't a multiplier change, technically, but I want this duration. What the hell? 4.5 seconds? Make that 10 seconds, please. Make it 10 seconds. You know what, fine, maybe 10, make it 7 seconds. Just 4.5 seconds is disgustingly short. Okay? Make it, I think 10 seconds would be fine, because most weapon buffs stay for 10 seconds. We have this lasts for 10 seconds, lasts for 10 seconds. Every time it lasts, does this last for 10 seconds? Yeah, for 10 seconds. It all lasts for 10 seconds. Just let her have her buff last for 10 seconds. I think that would be a very fair change. Alright, and next up we have our wonderful card chain.
Let's finish this quick.
And what I would love to see is, in her passive, the one that gives her crit rate. This effect lasts 8 seconds, which is great, but then you remember that the 8 seconds is the second you press her Q, and her burst animation is one of the, if not the longest in the game. So you do not actually get 8 seconds. I'd be surprised if you even get 5. So yeah, that's what I would like to see changed with this one. Next,
Give me a moment to compose
favorite animo, well, and only our favorite animo archon, Venti. With Venti, what I really want to see is that this duration 8 seconds, cooldown 15. No, okay, I know this may seem too much, but I want this to be 16 seconds. Make it 16. It just lasts really long. Okay, that's what I want to see. You may think this may make Venti too broken. No, in the Abyss, it's boss stages. It really does not matter. It'll deal more damage, I guess, and it will make Venti genuinely really good when he is applicable. Plus, most Archons, I'm saying most because Mavuika will probably be out by the time you're watching this video, but we'll see. Most Archons have their unique thing that makes them them. It lasts longer than their cooldown. So that's just a change that I would really love to see, you know. Farina lasts longer than the cooldown. Next is Klee, one of the few units I do not own. So, what I really want to see with Klee is that this burst, why does it leave when you leave the field? She could have been so good. She could have been so much better than Xiangling, because it may not apply as much as Xiangling, but it applies enough for most teams. And she's a catalyst user, which means she can hold TDDS. And then with her C2, she also shreds defense, which would have even amplified her being a support. This should have stayed if she leaves the field. It really, really should have. It would have made us so good. Next up, we have Diona. And what I want to see with Diona is... Well, 1 second, let me get some energy. Alright, so what I want to see change with Diona is that her healing ticks are quicker. Like, what is this? It takes too long. It takes too long. Alright, obviously that wasn't Diona's kind of fault. That's something we don't see every day. But I want her healing ticks to be way quicker. Wait. Thank you.
Potential treasure.
Alright, and that's what I would like to see change with Diona. Just her healing. Maybe a little bit smaller, but just quicker. Would really help her to work with Farina, you know. Next up, we have
Keep your
Mr.
eyes wide
Child,
open.
Tartaglia, whatever you want to call them. And what I want to see is that it shows you how long you have been in your skill skate. So over here there should be like a timer that like just shows you how long you... Oh my god, there's another one. Oh my god. Just how long you can stay in here. And as another change, I want him to also to be able to plunge. Yep. I've obviously been here before, because this thing is lighted up. Okay, wow, this view looks amazing. Wow. Exquisite. Thank you.
Not bad.
Nice.
Not bad at all.
Xinyan, where are you? Here you are.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Xinyan, it's very, very, very simple what I want her to do. So as we know, Xinyan can create a shield. And if you hit more than 2 enemies or if you use the burst, she will give AoE pyro application. Like so. See how it gives AoE pyro application? Which is pretty cool. However, if the shield goes away, it stops. Now, what I want to do is her AoE pyro application stays for however long the shield stays. Shield duration 12 seconds. I want the dot to just be there. Even if the shield leaves, obviously, if the shield leaves, vulnerable, you're not protected. I just want the pyro application to stay. That's what I would like to see with Xinyan. And it would make her a lot better for Mualani teams. Next up, we have him, the Geo Archon. It's extremely simple what I want this guy to do. I want him, he is an Archon, okay? So don't give me all that, be too powerful. No, he's an Archon, he should be powerful. I want his burst to be able to order bosses as well, because this is not acceptable. Okay? It should petrify as well. I'm gonna be so proud. It just should. Next up, we have our favorite Kreider Prince, Albedo. So, Albedo's biggest flaw, let's face it, it's a skill. Okay, it's this thing. It's this stupid flower. Right? Now what I want to do is, even if the flower breaks, the field stays. Okay? However, I also think it would be cool if you're actually incentivized. Also, this looks beautiful. If you're incentivized to break the flower. Let's say, if you break the flower, that little explosion when it goes away, huge AoE, just a little nuke, a mini nuke. Yeah, I think that would be so cool. And obviously the field, this field, it would just stay, even if it leaves. That's the buff I will give to Albedo. Next up, we have
What
Ganyu.
are my orders?
And I want to buff her elemental skill. This flower, I want the taunt that this has to be to the extreme. okay? I want this taunt to genuinely be amazing. The enemies will not target anything
We're
else
way behind
if
Sketchborn
this
of
taunt
Ice and
is up.
Frost.
Okay? This would really help her unshielded teams. So, Ganyu buff,
No touching.
just make this flower taunt a hell of a lot more. It would also make her C2 a lot better. Yep, and that is what I want with Ganyu. I love Ganyu. Now, next up
Evil
is
shall
Xiao.
be
And you could argue that this is a simple multiplier change, which is fine, but I want all of his, while in his burst, I want all of his plungers to be considered high plungers. So, right here, if I do this, it will now also be considered a high plunge. Usually you have to go all the way up for the high plunge. Just make it so this is always considered a high plunge. That's what I would like to see with Xiao. Next up is Hu Tao. And it's to do with this crit rate. Right, so I want this to be reworded. So when Hu Tao presses Guide to Afterlife, she herself will gain 12% crit rate. When Guide to Afterlife ends, the team gets the crit rate for 8 seconds. So she gives herself crit rate, and after it ends, she gives the team crit rate. That's how I want it to work. I think it's fine because units like Keqing have this. Obviously, I want this to be buffed, but Keqing have this, and Ganyu also has this, like a self crit rate buff. And they were released around the same time. I feel like should be fine. Obviously, it would kind of nerf a C6, but I think since it's already a passive, I'm rewording the passive a little bit. I think it'd be fine. Alright, next up,
Make sure to keep up.
it's Rosaria. And what I want to do with her, I don't know if this is really a buff, because this is just turning her into kind of Sitlali, I guess. I want her burst to have a bigger AoE. Like, this is probably too much, I guess.
You can't run.
But I want her burst to be bigger than this. This is a Bennett thing. I want it to be as big as maybe Chongyun or Ganyu. That's what I would like to see with Rosaria. Obviously, that would really hurt Ganyu's whole thing, and also maybe Sitlali, but meh, that's what I want to see. If I had to buff Rosaria, that is how I would do it. Next up, our beloved lawyer, Lady Yanfei. And let me just give this beautiful lady a sacrificial fragments, just so I can get my burst easier. So, as we know, Yanfei's C4, for some reason, gives a shield. It just gives a random shield, which is kind of odd. It just comes out of nowhere. So, what I want to change right now is the way that Yanfei's burst functions, right? So, as of right now, the whole thing that her whole thing is that it just deals damage, okay? And gives a charge attack damage bonus, which is quite cool. But, I want this burst to also be able to give interruption resistance. Like, you know how it gives, now you have a shield. Imagine even pre-C4, it gives you interruption resistance. Just like Beidou, actually. Because... oh my god. Because if you press Beidou's burst, it gives you interruption resistance, and then C1 it gives a shield. I want something similar to be with Yanfei, where her burst gives everyone interruption resistance, and then if you have the C4, it obviously also adds the shield. I just think that'd be a cool little change. Okay, so next up is our lovely lady Eula, and what I want to see as it would be a big buff is that over here, when Eula's own normal attacks, elemental skill and elemental burst deal damage to opponents, they will charge a Lightfall Sword. Please add plungers. add plungers. Make it so plungers can stack it up as well. Eula's biggest multipliers are with the plungers. If you add plungers to her elemental burst, so plungers can now charge up elemental burst, it would make Eula and Xinyan really, 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 really good. So that is what I want to see with Eula. That is the change that I would really, really like to see.
Want me to come along?
Next up, we have Kaeya Kazuha.
One with nature.
And what I would like to see is this. You see what happens here? There's like a little suck that happens when you use his elemental skill. It sucks enemies in, right? What I want is that when you use the burst, it sucks them inside. It sucks them over here. So if you have this, I want this to be like a permanent thing, right? It sucks the enemies constantly inside. That is the change that I would like to see. And that was the final one. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I've had a lot of fun making it, and I will be going through all the 2.0 units in a future video. And then the 3.0, and then the 4.0. And maybe I'll also do this for Honkai Star Rail as well. Obviously for Honkai Star Rail, I'll do this once 3.0 is out, and then I'll make a video for 1.0, and then 2.0. I think that'd just be, you know, a fun thing to do. Also, I will be doing an account review as well, because I have, you know, I have some characters, you know, just a few. So stay tuned for that. If you like this video, like it. If you want to see more content, subscribe. If you dislike the video, I guess press the dislike button. And thank you so much for watching.